I met my mother's new husband for the first time over dinner. The lights were warm, the wine glasses catching a soft amber glow. And then, in that moment of polite small talk, he asked the question, "So, how did you and your husband meet?" I smiled. I knew exactly what my mother hoped I'd say. She wanted a tidy, polished story, something she could present like fine china. Instead, I told the truth. I told him I met my husband when I was working as a yacht girl, paid to spend time on luxury boats, to keep wealthy men and their guests entertained. It was a world of champagne flutes, ocean sunsets, and eyes always watching you. My mother's fork froze in midair. To understand why this simple truth hit like a thunderclap, you have to know our history. My mother and I, we've never been close. She's a serious type A overachiever, driven, meticulous, proud of her work ethic. The kind of woman who believes the measure of your worth is in the prestige of your title and the length of your resume. And I've always clashed with people like that. She wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer because that's what her friends' children were becoming. She imagined dinner parties where she could beam with pride as she said, "My daughter's in medicine," or "She just made partner at her firm." I wanted nothing to do with it. The day I turned 18, I left home. No safety net, no degree, no plan to win her approval. I made my way through modeling gigs. I worked at clubs with a fake ID, the bass shaking the walls until sunrise. I dated rich men who liked my company and were willing to be generous about it. My mother called it a waste of potential. I called it living on my own terms. She told me once that I would understand her disappointment when I had daughters of my own. I have two now, and I can't imagine being ashamed of them over something so petty. It was during that life, the world of after-hours glamour and curated luxury, that I became a yacht girl. It wasn't a secret code or a mystery profession. It was exactly what it sounded like. Beautiful women paid to be part of the scene, to laugh, to dance, to fill the air with lightness and charm. Sometimes I dated the men I met there. They paid my rent, bought me gifts. My mother viewed it as prostitution. I didn't see it that way, but even if I had, I've always believed sex work should be legalized. Somewhere in that haze of sun and salt water and champagne, I met my husband. And he scandalized his entire family by marrying me, one of those girls. We have been together for 18 years, happy years. We have a home, our children, a life that's ours. I'll admit it, my life is easy. And yes, my looks opened some doors for me. But they were mine to use however I wanted. My mother never warmed to him. In her eyes, he partied too much. And worse, he enabled me to keep living the kind of life she'd hoped I'd eventually outgrow. She wanted me to grow up into something she could respect, something that would fit neatly into her version of success. And then came the night of that dinner. Her new husband, straight-laced, finance career, polite smile, asked the question. I could have said we met at a party. I could have said we had mutual friends. I could have smoothed it over, but it was my story, and I'm not ashamed of my life. I watched my mother's face change as the words left my mouth. Later, she told me I'd humiliated her. She'd wanted me to lie, or at least blur the details. She cried after dinner. And yes, I had known she would want me to leave those details out. My husband? He laughed when I told him what happened. Said I should have told them it was full-on prostitution, just for the shock value. He's a bit of a provocateur like that. But for me, it wasn't about provocation. It was about refusing to live in a version of my life that someone else had rewritten. So here I am, wondering if I went too far. Was I wrong for being that blunt? Should I have given my mother the graceful version of the story out of courtesy? Or was I right to stand in my truth, even knowing it would sting? So, am I the asshole? Here's what I keep coming back to. We all grow up with an idea of who we're supposed to be. Sometimes one we invent ourselves, sometimes one inherited from the people who raised us. And when your vision of yourself doesn't match the picture in someone else's mind, conflict is inevitable. What's at stake isn't just approval, it's identity. It's the right to look at your own life and say, "This is mine. I chose it. I will not apologize for it." There's a lesson here about the weight of truth and the cost of silence. Sometimes, telling the truth is a gift. Other times, it's a grenade, and only you can decide if you're willing to live with the fallout. So I'll ask you, if someone asked about a chapter in your life that others might judge, would you tell the whole truth? Or would you hand them the tidy version and keep the rest for yourself?